Once you have that base or that structure, then your leadership has something that they understand that needs to be followed.
And then making sure that they have access to that data too, so that they can see it. They can see where they're missing the mark. It's not just me telling you. You can also see it too.
Sometimes people can put the puzzle pieces together like, oh, I need to change. I never had access to that data before. So, all right, I'm back here today with Therese and Bobby, and we're talking all about how to develop leaders in your agency. And we have a new program called Agency Ascend, which is all training for how to be a leader in an agency. So we have lots of people retiring out, new people coming in, and we need to develop leaders that really help take the agency to the next level and give the owner a little breathing room, but also help the team. So today we're going to talk about accountability, the A word. One of my favorite words, because I think it's so important. And yet in today's hard market with burnout, short-staffed, accountability is kind of like, we're scared to even mention like egregious behavior. And I know I've talked to both of you guys about this. Like sometimes I'm in an agency and I'm like, I can't believe your staff talks to you that way. Like, I'm sorry, who gave you the right to speak that unprofessionally? Like I wouldn't speak to my worst enemy that way. And so we have this scenario where like, there's this push pull. And so I think accountability is huge. And I think that if you don't have accountability, you're going to run off your best players and cater to your worst players. So that's a little bit of a challenge. So what is accountability? Accountability is saying we have a job description, we have goals, we have projects, whatever it is, an outline of something, service level expectations, agency standards, how many phone rings we let go ring before we pick up the phone, showing up on time to work, you name it, we got it. There are just these norms of how to do business. And accountability is addressing it when people are not hitting those targets. And this could be as small as something of like, I mean, I have been in agencies where it's like, take out the trash. When you see it overflowing, someone takes out the trash. And of course, it's not somebody's specific job. So then all of a sudden the trash is overflowing and the owner's there at 7:00 at night taking out the trash, which is fine. But if that's a daily occurrence, it's ridiculous. Like it's a company kitchen. I know I'm being ridiculous here, but like, how about how many times we answer the phone? How about just be nice to people? Take your training and your quiz with APP. Please. Get your overdue activities down, like hustle it out, right? So that is the idea of accountability. And, you know, the challenges are we're short-staffed. We don't love difficult conversations. We're worried somebody's going to cry or quit or form a union with picket signs outside. Maybe a lot of leaders, I find this, they second guess themselves, right? That's a big one right there where they're like, well, maybe I wasn't clear, so I'm not going to hold the person accountable because I'm going to take all the burden. Which you can take a piece of the pie, but next time you need to make sure you're clear and document it and then hold the person accountable, because I think leaders sometimes use that as an excuse to not have difficult, uncomfortable conversations. Like, who really wants to hold anybody accountable? You know, like, do I want to go home and hold my husband accountable? Like, did you fold the laundry?
Did you throw your socks on the floor?
You lay your socks on the floor? No, I don't really want to do that. Like, but sometimes what happens if we don't hold people accountable, it can bubble up and then it gets nasty, right? And there's a lot of like resentment and that tension that happens. So the way I have seen accountability work is that you don't have, I think people think accountability is like writing people up or terminating them. Like they go to like the depths of like this very egregious action. I'm like, no, it could just be having a meeting with the person. Like it could just be talking to them. It doesn't have to be crazy. I think because maybe we have had those conversations before, it hasn't worked, then we know that there's now the next step of accountability has to happen, right? So Therese, what's your opinion? Like, how do agencies create a culture of accountability?
So I think they need to start with a base. And this is one of the hardest things for agencies that are already established if they don't have that base. And the base is your foundation, your processes and procedures. What things are you holding your people accountable for? So processes and procedures, how you greet people, how you talk to people on the phone, how you treat each other in the agency. Job descriptions are huge, so people stay in their lane. So to basically provide that culture, you have to provide the foundation and the structure that the people are supposed to be following. the time that you come in every day, the time that you leave, the time lunch hours, or however you organize it. Once you have that base or that structure, then your leadership has something that they understand that needs to be followed. Once you have that structure, then the culture changes because everybody knows what's expected of them. And when people know what's expected of them, they can follow things easier. And it's not as hard to keep people accountable because it's clear. It's written, it's in front of them, they know what's expected of them, and they follow it. And when they don't follow it, then we have to hold them accountable. We don't want to enable people to do things the wrong way, because when you enable them to do things the wrong way, then everybody in the agency is like, oh, well, so-and-so did it. And that's what we're avoiding. We're following those processes, those procedures. Leadership is promoting this accountability with their team, with their managers, and just that you're supposed to be here at 8 o'clock. I noticed you were here at 8:05. Just don't want to make this something that is consistent. Because once you let people come in 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late, it becomes this habit. And Kelly has this thing about that morning meeting where if you notice people are coming in late, you just have a stand-up 5-minute meeting every morning at 8 o'clock when you start, or 9 o'clock when you start. So there's small ways that you can kind of push accountability without having those tough conversations. There are strategies, and we're going to share those strategies in this program to help leaders basically hold people accountable. From the smallest tips and the smallest little things you can do to solve it to the larger ones where you have to basically have that conversation with somebody. Don't send an email, have a conversation. And COVID has changed, the pandemic changed things too. And we became we stopped making people accountable because of how things change. So that's why you have to have that structure. Are people allowed to work from home? Who works from home and who doesn't, and how you decide that. That all has to be in writing in your processes and procedures. And that is what builds your culture of accountability.
I think that's really good. And that also allows you to not have favoritism. And I think that there's different seasons where people might have a situation that you're being kind to, but anytime you throw a kindness out, you need to have an end date, right? So if you're accommodating somebody, maybe who's caring for, an elderly parent, like, great, we can do this for a year and then we're going to check in on it. We're going to do it for 6 months. Like, we can't make the guarantees forever because not every person sometimes is able to handle that, right? So I think what you're saying is clarity is kind.
Absolutely.
All right, Bobby, what are some ways, because I think a lot of times accountability in many agencies is this gray area blob. It's like, well, we told them, but did we really say that? And then the management just sort of spins in a circle, like circling the drain, and they spend hours talking about if they should just address it with a person because that's their way of stalling having to have a difficult conversation. And again, every leader I know thinks if they have a difficult conversation, the person's going to walk out and quit. So what are some tools we can use that would help bring it to more facts, not feelings?
Well, I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to be using our agency management system effectively and knowing how to get our data from our agency management system. I mean, our agency management system is, besides our payroll, is probably our next largest investment in an agency is into our technology stack. And if we don't understand how to get the reports that we need and to be able to aggregate that data in a usable format, it makes it really, really challenging to hold people accountable to the facts. But when you have the facts, those conversations change, right? It just is what it is. And so there was actually several years where I managed a sales team. And so, getting sales metrics and analyzing those sales metrics and really sitting down with people and saying, okay, what's going on here, right? Why are we not meeting our sales goals? Are we not providing the tools that you need? Do you need training? Do you need coaching? What is it that you need? And then making sure that they have access to that data too, so that they can see it. They can see where they're missing the mark. It's not just me telling you. You can also see it too. I always laugh because there was a time where I had to terminate somebody and this kid gets on the call and he apologized to me. That was his first thing that he said, Bobby, I'm so sorry. I knew what I was supposed to do and I just didn't do it. And that's where we want to be when we get to a point where we actually have to take corrective action, that we've had enough communication behind it, that they know exactly what they were supposed to do. We've given them all the tools, we've given them all of the training, and then it was their choice.
Yeah. It shouldn't be a surprise.
Right? Never.
That's the key. It shouldn't be a surprise. And then we also are big believers of like publicizing the data, because a little like peer to peer transparency never hurt anybody. Like, hey, your book isn't as the biggest book, and why are you always backlogged? Like, it's a matter of understanding, hey, sometimes people can put the puzzle pieces together like, oh, I need to change. I never had access to that data before. So I also think we have to think about some accountability with clients. So if we're talking about a culture of accountability, I see so many agencies over servicing the wrong clients because we care more about their insurance than they do. So that means that I will call them 17 times to make a payment. And, the pushback we always get is, but if they lapse and I have to remarket them, or we just have to let them go because we're not making any money on them. So
What do you mean?
but that's Mrs. Susie Smith, and she's been with us forever. I understand, but like we're not here to play that role with people. And I also think that we have to hold ourselves accountable to making renewal calls, to being on track, and raise our hands if we need to, right? Like the concepts that we put into place. I see so many people in agencies just like sit and I'm doing the best I can. Did you raise your hand? No. Did you make renewal calls? No. Did you reshop something that was against the agency standards? Yes. Did you delegate to the VAs? No, because I don't like them. Have you talked to them? One time I sent one thing to them, and it was a log cabin with a trampoline, a swimming pool with a diving board and no fence, and they didn't do it right. Okay. So like, I think a lot of times like the accountability has to be, with our clients as well, of in order to do a good job, I need this by Wednesday. Or letting people know and not sugarcoating it. If you do not pay, you do not have coverage at midnight. If your vehicle is stolen, vandalized, you hit somebody, you are out of luck. Okay. And I think so often in insurance, we want to be like sweet and nice and so accommodating, but then we create little monsters, and that's a really difficult thing. You're making your job harder. And the reality is you're not giving fair service. You're over servicing the worst part of the book, and you're under servicing because you can't get to renewal calls on the best part of the book. So in your head, you got to reconcile that and try to get back on track.
Well, I think sometimes they work on those because those are the easy things for them to work on. So they do that because it's easier rather than working on the renewal calls because those are the harder parts. So we have to hold them accountable to be working on the correct things that we need them working on.
So the challenges, I think the number one challenge I see in accountability is the leader's inability to have the conversation. So they delay and they put it off and they want to throw up and they don't want to just pick up the darn phone, call the person, say, can we talk? And they get themselves so spun up, or they go and fix another problem to avoid it, that then it becomes this whole big thing, or 2 weeks have gone by and it's pointless at this point in time. So I always tell people like the challenge is usually you in accountability. It's your unwillingness to hold people accountable. And then think about it as a leader, liked or respected. Respect gets job done.
And I was going to say, this is why it's so important to have a regularly scheduled meeting with your team members too, because that way, if it's always on the agenda for us to review the metrics and for us to review the numbers, it is not a surprise. I don't have to worry and have all kinds of anxiety about the fact that, oh my gosh, now I got to set this call with Therese and, what is she going to think because we don't have a regular call? Oh my goodness.
Getting called the principal's office.
Right. I mean, if we just have regular calls and we're just talking about it regularly, it's never a surprise and it's just always on the forefront.
No, I agree with that. And I think that that's super true. And it makes it much more casual, and it then becomes a culture of accountability, not just like a one-time, I'm in trouble. If you need help having these difficult conversations, maybe you're an owner, because owners need leadership too. Check out our Agency Ascend leadership program. It's got all the tips, how to manage by different personality types, how to go ahead and have these difficult conversations, what reports to pull, like Bobby was saying, how to not have favoritism, but really how to get that leadership component going in your agency. And I'm going to say it again. The top agencies we work with have invested in leadership development. They are not winging it. They are not taking the person who's been there the longest because they think that like all of a sudden it's like a royal family, right? Like, well, Prince Charles will get it next, or whoever the prince is now. Who's the king now? Is it Charles? King Charles?
Yes, King Charles.
King Charles is next in line. But is he the best king? He's very boring. I have a slight royal addiction. Elizabeth was the bomb. I can't wait for Kate to come into the ecosystem, get a little fun back in there, but Charles is boring. But if you're just picking your leaders by the next in line who's been there longest because you're going to hurt someone's feelings, you have to think about it. Your job is to be a steward of everybody in that agency. Putting a bad leader in there because they've been there the longest is a bad decision. Okay? You have to put the best leader in. Again, Tom Brady is not the coach of the Patriots right now. Okay? So sometimes the players on the field, not that. We see this all the time in sales management. You take your top salesperson and try to get them to manage people. Good salespeople are selfish. Okay? They want to go sell, hoard the leads, fight with everybody about why their leads are the best, and keep going. They are not designed to be good sales managers. So think about that. So check out our new program, Agency Ascend. We'd love to talk to you about it. Reach out. But it is available until the end of the month for half off. And then you're going to pay double. Who wants to pay that, right? All right, everybody. We're signing off. We'll see you in our next podcast.